You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a judge tosses out a lawsuit brought against a Missouri law requiring voters to show a government-issued ID at the ballot box.
Also, our own Yana Hadala takes us inside a forever home to show how pet adoption can make a world of a difference for pets and owners alike.
And as we head into our Friday, we have another alert day with a red flag warning yet again. Kicking in later, running through 8 o'clock tonight. We'll break down the full forecast and some fall temperatures coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Jalen Banks. Authorities in Ottawa County, Oklahoma, bust a large illegal marijuana growing operation. Wednesday, the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office helped the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics raid the illegal operation in rural Fairland. Authorities say they found more than 3,000 live plants, nearly 800 plants hanging to dry, and approximately 17,600 pounds of processed marijuana at the site. Some of it was burned. Some of it was put on dump trucks and hauled off. Police arrested 6 people and charged them with unlawful cultivation of marijuana, trafficking in marijuana, and possession of firearms in commission of a felony. A judge dismisses a lawsuit challenging a Missouri law that requires voters to show a government-issue ID at the polls. That means voters without a photo ID will have to file a provisional ballot in the November election. The provisional ballot will be counted only if the voter returns later that day with a photo ID or if election officials verify their signatures. The lawsuit was filed by the Missouri NAACP and the League of Women Voters, who argued the law restricts people's ability to vote. Officials with those groups vowed to take the case to the Missouri Supreme Court. The Southeast Kansas Humane Society is finding it hard to get their larger dogs adopted. KOAM's Yana Hadala learned about an adoption story and talked with the new dog owner as well as director of the Humane Society in Pittsburgh.
This little guy is Reno. He's been in and out of families in his life, and he's been living at the Southeast Kansas Humane Society. Now, Mary Weirman is coming to his rescue.
They can't languish in there forever. It's hard on them when they're in a kennel all day, all night, and they're not really getting the interaction with people that they need.
Reno's adoption story is a bit different than usual, as he's been to the Humane Society twice.
He was back at the Humane Society for several months, so I think, he was probably feeling a little lost and, just wanting to be with a family.
Jasmine Kyle from Southeast Kansas Humane Society says dogs are not just dogs. They have feelings, they experience trauma, and if they are returned to the shelter after their initial adoption, they know exactly what a shelter is.
They got experience with living on a couch was. They got an experience of going to bed at night with their family. It's extremely hard for them because yes, we provide them the best that we can out here with activity, enrichment, and love from our staff, but there is nothing that beats a home.
Kyle is grateful Reno found his forever home, as shelters in Kansas currently have lots of large dogs that are not getting adopted. She says she could see the connection between Reno and Weirman immediately.
He would follow them. And I was like, okay, there is a connection already. And it was beautiful. As soon as we handed off, he did a backwards look. And then he just smiled and he walked out the door with her, and we knew it was meant to be.
Weirman says adopting a dog is the best decision anyone can make.
Go out and walk a dog. You might find that you really like having that partner, and you might change your mind.
Change your mind and change one lucky dog's world. In Pittsburgh, Yana Hadala, KOAM News.
Jasmine Kyle from the Humane Society says intakes for animals have sadly gone up 87%. She reminds us that every animal that gets adopted will give a space to stay for new intakes. Pitt State students will now be able to learn in a quieter environment. On Thursday, the university held a ribbon cutting for a new solar panel canopy. The panels will be used to power hand tools used by outdoor classes at the College of Technology. Officials say before, those tools were powered with a noisy generator, which made it harder for students to hear the instructor. Now, that won't be an issue.
It'll be used by our students in our electrical program, which is our 2-year electrical technician program, and by our electronics engineering program, and then also our School of Construction. So our students will be able to understand the solar processes and be able to incorporate that into our curriculum and our labs.
The school received the solar panels through a partnership with Evergy. That wasn't the only event happening at Pitt State yesterday. KFORD hosted its Future Professionals Conference at the Student Rec Center. KFORD stands for Kansas Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. It was a chance for students studying any kind of physical education to try some hands-on activities and learn new skills.
With the pandemic, a lot of conferences and things were not held, and so now we're trying to get back in the swing of things, and they wanted to do just a one-shot, have a convention just for college students only.
More than 100 students were there from the universities across the state in Kansas.
We've got a little weather trivia or weather history for you today, rather. And on this day, back in 1965, 24.28 inches of rain fell in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 2 weeks later, another 18.15 inches ended up falling on them. No rain in our forecast, at least not a lot of widespread rain. We do have an alert day, though, for that red flag warning. Kicks in later this morning, runs through 8. And here's why. These wind gusts later today, like yesterday, pushing 30, maybe even 35 miles an hour with sustained winds out of the southwest of about 20 miles an hour. Right now in Joplin, 7th and Range Line, beautiful sunrise, calm wind for now, 43 degrees in the city. We've got 37 Yates Center, 35 in Iola, 41 Columbus, and 46 in Neosho. As we go through today, we'll be mostly sunny but breezy, 80 degrees for the afternoon high, and we'll drop back down to an overnight low of 47 under mostly clear skies once those winds calm down a bit. 7-day forecast, 82 Saturday, a slight chance of maybe a shower or thunderstorm in our southern counties, most of us dry. We drop 10 degrees by Sunday and settle into a fall-like pattern for the first half of next week, where we could see our first night below freezing this season.
Well, Chris, I'm really looking forward to those temps after the super long dry season that we had.
If we could just get a little more rain in here, we'd be in much better shape. But at least we're trying to get fall-like weather into the area before we suddenly settle into winter.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Chris. And up next, Mary Gilpin from Wreaths Across America tells us about the significance of the annual event and how you can help out.
And later, one group of conservationists turn to man's best friend when they need to sniff out scientific data. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, a new study suggests the FDA's push against vaping could be working. The journal JAMA Network Open published a study Thursday looking at the agency's Real Cost ad campaign. Researchers looked at over 1,500 people ages 13 to 17. Some of the teens were shown ads from the Real Cost campaign for 3 weeks. Researchers concluded those who watched the anti-vaping ads were less susceptible to engage in vaping. The FDA started the Real Cost campaign in 2014. It uses relevant materials and research to show teens how nicotine can harm their health. A study suggests nearly half of symptomatic COVID patients are not fully recovered after more than 6 months. Researchers examined data on tens of thousands of people in Scotland. In questionnaires, 6% said they did not recover, and 42% only partially recovered more than 6 months after being infected. Researchers found similar results across 12 and 18-month periods. Persistent COVID symptoms included breathlessness, chest pain, palpitations, confusion, and more. The researchers said the lack of recovery was associated with more severe infections, older age, being female, Black, and South Asian ethnic groups, as well as pre-existing respiratory diseases. The study was published Wednesday in the journal Nature.
Well, we've got a red flag warning today. Once again, kicks in later this morning, runs through 8 o'clock as we can see wind gusts upwards of 30 to 35 miles an hour. Outside of the gusty winds, we'll be sunny and we'll reach a high of about 80 degrees. Winds will calm down a little later tonight and will be mostly clear, dropping back to a low of 47. For Friday night football, it's a perfect night for football, albeit maybe a bit breezy on the field. Otherwise, 68 at kickoff, 66 at halftime under mostly clear skies. Quick check of your weekend forecast, watching some shower and thunderstorm chances late day Saturday, mainly in our southern counties, 82. We drop 10 degrees Sunday, though. We stay mostly cloudy, but otherwise not too bad ahead of a fall-like week next week. We got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Welcome back. This morning, we're joined by Mary Gilpin and Donita Dubslaw with Wreaths Across America. Guys, welcome to the show. What can you tell us about the significance of the event that you guys are planning?
The goal of Wreaths Across America is to lay a live balsam fir wreath at every veteran's gravesite. Last year, Wreaths Across America sponsors and volunteers laid 2.4 million wreaths at 3,100 locations.
Oh, wow.
And this year, we are going to be sponsoring Fort Scott National Cemetery. The actual wreath laying is on December the 17th, but we have a mobile education exhibit coming in on October the 28th that Mary's going to tell you about.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, the mobile education exhibit it's a big semi. It's 60 foot long and it expands to 24 feet wide. And the front of the mobile education unit has interactive displays telling about the Wreaths Across America's mission. And in the very front of it, there is a theater with an 8-minute program that tells about Wreaths Across America. The mobile education exhibit begins its journey in Washington State, and it drives across the United States, stopping at cities and towns, and we are so excited that they are going to stop at Pittsburgh, Kansas at PSU on October the 28th.
All right.
And they will end their journey on December 17th at Arlington National Cemetery. And that is when the wreaths will be laid. The unit brings to heart the true purpose of why we do what we do. We want to bring the community and our military together to share stories of patriotism and their love for the country, to help teach the next generation about service, that freedom is not free, and sacrifice and honor to remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. So on October 28th, our Oceanus Hopkins chapter of the DAR here in Pittsburgh and the Fort Scott Sons of the American Revolution will bring this mobile education exhibit to PSU, to the Veterans Memorial, from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, they and we will have a ceremony honoring Vietnam veterans with a welcome home ceremony. And at that time, the veterans will receive their 50-year anniversary lapel pin, a hat, and a challenge coin. And so we really encourage all Vietnam veterans and all veterans to please come out on October the 28th from 10 to 3 o'clock at the Veterans Memorial at Pittsburgh State University.
That is awesome. So guys, just tell me your motivation behind it. Like, why do you guys go out of your way to do this? Like, what's the heart behind it? One of you want to expand on that?
The purpose behind the service organizations that we had joined originally, the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Sons, one of our primary factors is to promote patriotism and to assist veterans in any way that we can. And Wreaths Across America ties into that so well. Their motto of teach, respect, honor these veterans just really does tie in with all of our values.
Mary?
And our program provides community service. We do a lot of community service projects. And so we thought it would be wonderful to make sure that every veteran at Fort Scott National Cemetery had a wreath. And that way we we partner with Fort Scott and we make sure that every veteran has a wreath for December the 17th to be placed on their grave.
So at these different events, tell me you guys' like favorite aspect or favorite part of these.
Hearing about the stories of the veterans that are still living, because that is one of the functions of it, is to honor all veterans, not just the ones who've already passed on. So hearing their stories and giving them the opportunity to share what happened with them is very moving. It really makes you appreciate what they've done for us.
Absolutely.
Right. And to be able to honor and welcome the Vietnam veterans home, because they were not welcomed home after their tour of service. So we're just really thrilled to be able to do that, and we're really thrilled that the mobile education exhibit decided to stop at Pittsburgh of all of the cities and towns they could choose.
Absolutely.
We are so thankful that they chose us, and we're so excited that we're able to bring that to the community.
Well, we thank you guys for that. Before we wrap things up, do you want to tell the people at home how they can get involved?
Yes, we have links on the website that you'll be able to find on the KOAM website. They're going to have those posted. You can sponsor wreaths. You can come out and volunteer on December the 17th to lay wreaths. They're going to have also, after about a month, at the end of January, we'll be picking those wreaths back up. We can always use help with that. And definitely come out on October the 28th and visit the mobile education exhibit.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. Again, that is October the 28th at the Pittsburgh Veterans Memorial. And again, thank you guys for coming. We'll be back with more after the break.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero technician, 5th grade Dale Switzer. The Lovewell, Kansas native served in France and Poland in 1944 as part of the 106th Port Marine Maintenance Company. To Dale Switzer, we thank you, today's four-state hero. Researchers in Wisconsin wanted to collect data on wild bumblebee nests this past summer, so they turned to man's best friend to help sniff the bees out. Megan Marshall has more.
Oh, look at that happy face.
This one is affectionately named Betty White.
You sit. Good boy.
Her partner in crime is Ernie.
You can jump.
The dogs, along with Laurel Holder, just spent the summer sniffing out bumblebee nests for researchers.
Nests in general are just super hard for humans to find by themselves. So any valuable, find for the dogs is going to be helpful for the researchers.
They are the Conservation Dogs Collective. Their slogan is making a sniffrance.
One thing I love watching with her too is like her tail set when she's working. I can tell if she's on like a mouse odor or our target odor. Nice double back there. Wait.
They're trained to locate Wisconsin's 20 species of bumblebees. This is a training day.
We train with different volumes of the bumblebee nest material because out in the wilds there could be, just a tiny little nest or a really large nest.
Jade Kohansky is a PhD student at UW-Madison and studies bumblebees. She explains that a dog's superior sense of smell makes it possible to locate nests and collect data on these important pollinators.
These dogs, they're super impressive, and when they find a nest, they know exactly where it is. And so if we can increase the efficiency and accuracy of finding bumblebee nests, that can really help us answer these other research questions of, are there species-specific differences in nesting preferences, and are prairie restorations helping them?
Sniffing around looking for bees may sound like you're asking for trouble, but problems are rare.
Bumblebees, you really have to make them upset for you or the dog to get stung. And I always have safety gear on me too. So they obviously have like oral Benadryl, but I also have injectable Benadryl.
The dogs are trained to detect more than just bee nests.
So we just had a team that came back from Iowa last week. So they were doing ornate box turtle surveys. Wood turtles are another thing in the area here that are of great importance.
It's an emerging field providing useful data for scientists, and looks like it will keep these valuable noses of Ernie and Betty White busy.
What do dogs have that we don't when it comes to sniffing out scents? Well, Conservation Dog says the part of a dog's brain that is devoted to analyzing smells is around 40 times greater than ours. And that's why we don't greet each other the same way that dogs do. That's probably a good thing. We have an alert day today for a red flag warning that kicks in later, runs until 8 o'clock tonight, and here's why. Gusty winds yet again today, very dry conditions. Those wind gusts pushing 30 to 35 miles an hour on top of sustained winds of around 20 miles an hour out of the southwest. Right now in Joplin, beautiful sunrise at 7th and Range Line, 43 degrees. The wind is calm for now, giving you a chance to tie down your trash can or anything else that's outside. 36 Yates Center, Iola 39 in Chanute, 42 Columbus, and 42 in Carthage as we start the day. Going through today will, of course, be breezy, but otherwise sunny, 80 degrees for an afternoon high. And heading into this evening, winds will eventually calm down, will be mostly clear, and 47 for an overnight low. And we'll look at the 7-day forecast. We're looking at a 82 tomorrow, slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm, mainly in our southern counties. Most of us will be dry. Dropping 10 degrees Sunday, 72 mostly cloudy, then a very fall-like pattern for the first half of next week. Take a look at Tuesday night. Could see our first night below freezing this season. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Four States' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. Pitt State students will now be able to learn in a quieter environment. On Thursday, the university held a ribbon cutting for a new solar panel canopy. The panels will be used to power hand tools used by outdoor classes at the College of Technology. Officials say before, those tools were powered by a noisy generator, which made it hard for students to hear the instructor. Now, that won't be an issue.
It'll be used by our students in our electrical program, which is our 2-year electrical technician program, and by our electronics engineering program, and then also our School of Construction. So our students will be able to understand the solar processes and be able to incorporate that into our curriculum and our labs.
And that wasn't the only event happening at Pitt State yesterday. CAFORD hosted its Future Professionals Conference at the Student Rec Center. CAFORD stands for Kansas Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. It was a chance for students studying any kind of physical education to try some hands-on activities and learn new skills.
With the pandemic, a lot of conferences and things were not held, and so now we're trying to get back in the swing of things, and they wanted to do just a one-shot, have a convention just for college students only.
More than 100 students were there from universities across the state of Kansas. Dog owners can now soon get outside and enjoy time together with their four-legged friends and other owners. Bark in the Park is happening this Saturday at Schlanger Park in Pittsburgh. The event includes activities for dogs as well as their owners, such as a free community dog walk, dog training courses, and painted paw paints for the dogs. The Humane Society will also bring 3 dogs to the event that are up for adoption.
If you're looking to adopt, please come to the event this Saturday. It is completely free to the public besides 2 of our events, so 90% of our events are free that day. We're even got a partnership with K-State Research and Extension Center, and we're getting their professional dog agility course on site.
Jasmine Kyle says she is waiting to see a lot of adopted dogs she has worked with at the event. Dangerous fire conditions continue across the area. Parts of the 4 states have been under burn bans for weeks. Then yesterday, the National Weather Service issued a red flag warning for the area. KOAM Shagun Bamdali explains what that means.
A red flag warning means very low humidity and strong winds are expected to combine, creating a higher risk of fire danger.
Here for us in southwest Missouri, we're in a drought situation. We have received a little bit of rain for our areas at less than 1/4 of an inch a day or 2 ago.
For red flag conditions, winds must be at least 10 miles per hour, humidity 25% or lower, and dead fuels like grass holds less than 9% moisture.
You know, smoking discarded cigarettes out the window of a moving vehicle, or even discarded it near your front porch into the grass could start a grass fire pretty quickly. And then burning trash in barrels, burning brush piles, burning leaf piles, anything like that could become out of control due to the elevated winds.
Chief Coates says trying to put out the fire on your own could be dangerous.
And the quicker we can get there, the less chance we have of someone getting hurt or burning someone's home or building down.
The community's help is needed to protect the community during red flag conditions.
Most people have apps on their phones that will give them the weather conditions and it will tell them about it. And it's just basically raising the awareness, make sure the people know, make sure they don't go out and burn their leaves or try to get anything, burning brush or anything like that.
In Reddingsmill, Shagun Bamdele, KOAM News.
The National Weather Service has already declared today another red flag warning for parts of the area. Well, this morning, we're discussing the fight over pumpkin spice.
Yeah, it's fall. It's a time for trees to change color, temperatures to drop, and, of course, that annual fight over that stuff there, some pumpkin spice.
Some say the battle began back in 2003 when Starbucks infused the public consciousness with the seasonal spice and the craze exploded.
But others have risen up since then to say no thank you to the fall spice in no uncertain terms. In fact, according to one recent survey, 10% say they have had at least one pumpkin spice argument with a friend or a relative.
Or worse, another 11% say they considered breaking up with their partner over a difference of the pumpkin spice opinion.
Lest the battle heat up into full-scale war, we decided to find out once and for all where the 4-state stands on this contentious and delicious issue. So our question to you this morning, do you like pumpkin spice? 44% of you say no, 56% of you say yes. About an hour ago, that was, oh, that's backwards. Huh.
44% say yes.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say. An hour ago, this was switched. So according to what I'm being told, there's something wrong with our little Instapoll system here, but it's actually 56% yes, 44% no. So that number actually remains unchanged since this morning, so it's an almost even split.
To be completely honest, I'm still shocked at how many people say no, because it is so popular, at least amongst
You would certainly think so.
At least amongst people my age.
I'm all right with pumpkin pie, but
Yeah.
I don't need pumpkin in everything. I will say, as we're going to come and go, we had a pumpkin-flavored coffee, and I was telling you about this when we would brew it in the morning during the fall. It smelled wonderful. The taste was okay, but the smell it filled that store with was just incredible. So, you know, it tempts you to at least try it because it does smell good.
Well, yes, I'm with you on that. Pumpkin spice lattes and stuff, I'm not big on the taste, but I do like the smell.
Yeah,
Very nostalgic.
Well, make sure you vote, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Do so in the app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. As Jaylen mentioned, we have a red flag warning until 8 o'clock tonight, and that's because of this. Gusty winds, sustained winds of about 20 out of the southwest, and they'll be gusting 30, maybe even 35 miles an hour again today. 7th and Range Line, beautiful sunrise. Calm winds for now, 43 degrees in Joplin, 36 Center, 39 Independence, 42 Columbus, 41 Neosho as we start the day. We'll be mostly sunny, breezy, but otherwise decent. 80 for an afternoon high. Winds calm down later tonight. We drop back down to a low of 47 under mostly clear skies. For Friday night football, it's going to be good, albeit a bit breezy at the games tonight. We're looking at 68 at kickoff, 66 by halftime, and a check of the 7-day forecast. Still watching a slight chance of showers or thunderstorms for our southern counties tomorrow. Most of us staying dry, 82. 10-degree drop Sunday, 72 mostly cloudy, and a fall-like pattern, at least for the first half of next week, where we could see our first low below 32 by Tuesday night. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. If it's Friday, you know what that means. It's time for Shannon Becker to join us, and you know what? He decided to do so.
Yep.
Here he is.
It's the most talked about stories this week on our website, KOAM News Now.
Big three.
Let's check it out. Number 3 this week in Miami, the old Miami Ford building coming down there. It's a 2023 Dodge pulling that wall down.
That was really cool to see. But I mean, that was it's a shame they didn't tear the whole building down that way, but that was awesome.
So it's all completely gone now. It was built in 1948 as Bertram Motors, if a lot of people remember. Also, it was Kissimmee Motors as well, if I could ever learn how to pronounce that. Anyway, check it out. It's going to be a new Vance Auto Group superstore. It won't be until this next year at that same location. There's some history about it, so you can check it out on our website. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First, go-kart hit by an SUV. That is a go-kart. They're low to the ground up underneath the front of that SUV. Female driver of the SUV was not injured. The go-kart rider, 18-year-old man, a teenager from the Joplin area, was rushed to trauma to an area hospital where he's actually recovering now. It was really touch and go there at first. And our number 1 story, it was a standoff after a police pursuit where the person had fired shots at officers. Let me get all this out here. You can see him here giving up in the middle of Coyote Drive this last week. More details on our website. Joplin SWAT had to respond. He's facing multiple felony charges after that. And then our bonus story of the week, the Halloween drive-by light display list. Can I put a bunch of words in that for the list, you know? I don't know. The open dates for Drake and More on Crow Road. It's coming up on the 19th. All the details on all the places you can drive by with your kids. So it's kid-friendly, all right? It's not going to be, like I said earlier, Wolfman's House of Screams for your 3-year-old. You know, it'll be in the comfort of the vehicle, the SUV in their car seat. They can look at the lights and go on by. We do it at Christmas too. So that's on our website, KOAM News Now.
Yeah, a great list out there.
If I can learn to talk.
I couldn't stop. So, I mean, we all make mistakes. We're not perfect. You're reading these little words on that screen, and sometimes, you know, you get a little ahead of yourself, but I just...
Well, I've reached that age now. It's dementia, so it's fine. It's excusable.
So, folks at home probably already know this. If you don't, I've got a very active imagination, so I am already picturing this gentleman, like, with a flamethrower.
Yeah? Who knows?
I'm sorry. But you know, the good news is, you know, they did get it under control quickly.
Yes.
Got that situation resolved.
Yes.
Always a good thing there. Great work by JPD as always. So
Yep.
it seems like it's been a pretty active, busy week in law enforcement around the area. It seems like they've gotten busier over the last year.
Always busy.
So, but we thank you for, of course, you're always busy. I don't know how you do it. So I was telling Jalen, you know, he's younger. He's a young pup over there. He's like 10 years old compared to us. And, you know, I could work 20-hour days back in the day without a problem. But these days, that's a little bit more difficult to do that. So I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, no kids at home.
I get that. Because when I was younger, too, I mean, I lived at home. So 20-hour days, what was I going to do? Go home and be bored? Or I could get paid some overtime to go do some news or whatever. So, you know, that's why we do what we do, because we love what we do.
Yep, exactly.
And we hope you love watching us. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News coming up. We've got another alert day for us today because we have a red flag warning kicks in a little later today, runs until 8 o'clock tonight. And here's why. Those winds, first off, sustained out of the southwest, upwards of 20 miles an hour, and then gusting anywhere from 30 to 35 miles an hour in some cases later today. So absolutely, as we've been telling you, no outdoor burning. Don't just flick your cigarette out the window or anything like that, because any fires outside could spread very quickly. 7th and Range Line, beautiful sunrise, 43 degrees, a little bit on the cool side, but the wind is calm for now. 36 Yates Center, 38 Parsons, 36 Pittsburgh, 40 in Lamar, and 42 in Carthage as we start today. We'll all eventually heat up to right around 80 degrees. We'll be breezy, of course, but otherwise sunny skies. Winds will calm down later tonight and drop us back down to 47 under mostly clear skies. And for Friday night football, great news here because we're calling it good on the field as well. Mostly clear skies, 68 at kickoff, 66 at halftime. However, there could be still some of those gusty winds during the game, so do be prepared for that if you're out on the field. 82 tomorrow. Slight chance of a stray shower or thunderstorm in our southern counties tomorrow, but otherwise most of us, I think, are going to stay dry. 10-degree drop Sunday to 72, mostly cloudy, and then a very fall-like pattern setting up for the first half of next week. 33 Monday night, 30 Tuesday night, and then as we head into the other half of the week, we warm back up into the mid to upper 70s before we see another cool down by next Sunday. Now, here's Jalen with Consumer Watch.
All right, thank you, Chris. In Consumer Watch this morning, Social Security is getting its biggest boost in more than 4 decades. Thursday, the Social Security Administration announced a cost of living increase of 8.7% for next year. It follows an increase of just over 5% in 2022. That's going to put more money in the pockets of 66 million beneficiaries, many of them seniors. They'll likely need that boost to help deal with stubbornly high inflation. New U.S. Labor Department data shows prices were up 8.2% in September compared to a year ago, driven by food, housing, and healthcare costs. That number is slightly down from 8.3% rise in August. The report also showed core inflation, which excludes food and energy costs, has gone up over 6% in the past 12 months. That's a 40-year high. But Netflix viewers could see prices come down starting next month. The video streaming service announced it's launching a new basic plan that includes ads at 15 to 30 seconds in length. The new plan will cost $6.99 per month in the U.S., with similar plans also launching in 12 other countries. Netflix is hoping to regain subscribers after losing more than 1 million in the first half of this year. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. A new LEGO video game and an interplanetary space exploration sim are amongst the latest video game releases.
Rick Damagella reports.
LEGO Brick Tales is a puzzle-solving adventure where players have to get creative with their brick-building skills. The game sends you on a quest through LEGO dioramas to rebuild an amusement park. LEGO Brick Tales is out now for the Nintendo Switch. 6 years after its initial release, No Man's Sky has landed on the Nintendo Switch. Hello Games' Interplanetary Explorer retains the procedurally generated worlds for your character to encounter, and currently commands the best review ratings of any version of the game, according to review aggregator Metacritic. Cuphead has been entertaining players with its side-scrolling gameplay and vintage animation style since 2017, but only as a digital release. December 6th marks the date a physical edition arrives for the award-winning game, and pre-orders are open now for a collector's edition from IM 8-Bit that includes a Cuphead marionette. Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Certainly a lot of neat new games and stuff coming out. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm getting a little older and not catching up on all the latest new games, but...
If I'm not mistaken, I want to say the very first Lego game came out in 2005 or 2006.
I think I
with
remember that.
Lego Star Wars. And
Yeah.
ever since then, the Lego video games have just taken
It's kind of
off.
crazy because, I mean, I played with Legos as a kid and never really saw them turning into something that's live action beyond my imagination.
For
So,
sure.
Absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We do have an alert day for us today because we got a red flag warning that goes until 8 o'clock tonight. And the reason for that is, well, sustained winds out of the southwest upwards of 20 and gusts pushing as high as 35 in some cases across the area. So absolutely no outdoor burning. Across the area, 7th and Range Line, beautiful sunrise. We're calm for now, 43 degrees in Joplin, mostly clear skies. We got 36 Yates Center, 38 Independence, 41 Miami, and 42 in Carthage as we start this day. As we go through the rest of the day, we'll be breezy, of course, but sunny otherwise, 80 for an afternoon high. And then heading into tonight, the wind will eventually die down and give us mostly clear skies and an overnight low of 47. Now for Friday night football, it is going to be a good night, albeit a bit breezy on the field. Good weather for the evening, mostly clear skies, 68 at kickoff, 66 at halftime. And then there's the weekend that we're watching. We're looking at a slight chance of some scattered showers and possibly some thunderstorms in our southern counties tomorrow evening. 82 and mostly cloudy otherwise. I think most of us will be dry. And then look at this, a 10-degree drop Sunday to 72 and mostly cloudy. And that is because we're going to get into a brief fall-like pattern again. As we head into next week, check out these temperatures. 60 Monday, 57 Tuesday, 62 on Wednesday. Monday night, 33. Tuesday night could be our first night below freezing for this season. And then we start to warm back up. Look at Thursday, 77. And on the 10-day, 75 Friday, 75 Saturday, and then another 10-degree drop as we head into the next weekend. So fall is trying to settle in across the area. We got more of the KOAM Morning News coming right up.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th insurrection voted unanimously to subpoena former President Trump. It's unclear if the former president will comply or try to fight the order. In what may be the committee's last public hearing, new videos showed congressional leaders calling federal and state officials pleading for help as rioters stormed the Capitol. The school shooter who killed 17 people in Parkland, Florida in 2018 received life without parole on Thursday. A judge spared Nicola Cruz from the death penalty that drew outrage from some of the victims' parents. They will be allowed to make statements before a final sentencing hearing on November 1st, but the judge cannot change the verdict. At least 5 people were dead after a juvenile opened fire in Raleigh, North Carolina. Police say an off-duty officer amongst those was killed. According to the Gun Violence Archive, this is the 531st mass shooting in America this year. Mayor Mary Ann Baldwin called it a sad and tragic day for the city.
We've got a red flag warning for today that'll kick in a little bit later, run through 8 o'clock. We could see winds gusting to 35 later today and sustained winds out of the southwest at about 20. We'll otherwise be sunny and 80 degrees today. And as we head into tonight, temperatures will cool off and so will the breeze as we'll dip back down to 47 under mostly clear skies heading into the evening. And a quick look at the 7-day forecast. We're 82 tomorrow, watching a slight chance of some showers and thunderstorms on Saturday in the evening, mainly in our southern counties. 10-degree drop on Sunday to 72, and then we settle into a brief fall-like pattern for the first few days of next week, where we could see our first night below freezing on Tuesday.
Below freezing, you say?
Uh-huh.
After the string of heat that we've had?
Uh-huh. A little crazy. A little flip-floppy weather here.
Well, Chris, some people say that they pay top dollars for vintage clothes, but a recent purchase in New Mexico is on a different level.
Yeah, this pair of Levi's from the 1880s just sold at auction for more than $87,000. Two men bought the jeans together, 23-year-old Kyle Hotner and Zip Stevenson, the owner of a vintage denim store. Levi's were found in an abandoned mine several years ago. Only a couple of similar pairs of jeans exist, but they're kept in museums and too delicate to wear. Stevenson says this pair is surprisingly durable and can be worn. They're a 38-inch waist, 32-inch length. Stevenson said they would consider selling to a private buyer, but they'd prefer the jeans be bought and displayed in a museum such as the Smithsonian or the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Talk about an ancient pair of jeans that have lived the times. Well, thanks so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather today at noon.
Well, have a great morning and an even better day.